Well, Big Bertha leads the band out to every home football game. So when we step out there on the field, we're following Bertha.
Big Bertha originated from a combination of things. Mr. Carl D. Greenleaf was president of the Kahn Music Company, Elchardt, Indiana. He was a graduate of the University of Chicago. His son was at the time in the early 1920s, also a student, requested his father help the band by contributing instruments. So Mr. Greenleaf agreed that Kahn would furnish, I believe it was 100 instruments, to the University of Chicago Marching Maroon Band, I believe was their official name. Mr. Greenleaf was approached and said, "Can you build us a big drum?" Their dilemma was, how big can we make it? And they went to the stockyards and found the biggest steers they could and managed to make an 8-foot head, and that's how Big Bertha was built. She was the property of the University of Chicago from 1922 till at least 1939, when Chicago de-emphasized athletics, disbanded the football and the band, etc. And Bertha became surplus. She was put in storage under the stadium for the duration of the World War II. And then she was shipped back to Kahn, where she was built. And that's where Moulton Crockett found her in 1954. He then began talking with Mr. Greenleaf about, "It's a nice drum, we'd like to have it." And Mr. Greenleaf made some statements about, "I'd like the drum to go to the biggest university in the biggest state in the United States, but I can't give it to you because Purdue wants this drum, been bugging me, but I'll sell it to you." And Moulton said he kind of had a pause and said, "Okay, how much money?" He said, "I can't give it to you, but I'll sell it to you for $1." He bought it from Mr. Greenleaf, rented a trailer, had a tarp made, loaded the drum on the trailer, and drove it back from Elchardt, Indiana to Austin, Texas, in the snow and ice in late December 1954.
I absolutely remember the first time I saw Big Bertha, because when students walk into the band hall and they see her for the first time, it always reminds me of when I walked into the band hall and saw her for the first time and was like, wow, how do they move that thing around? You know, it's 10 feet off the ground, 44 inches wide. It's not a small endeavor.
Bertha is turning 100 this year, and she really is old and fragile. And, the last major trip that she took was when we went to London and led the New Year's Day parade back in 2016.
Part of it is, how do you give such a traditional part of the football games a lovely retirement?
Yes.
And that was part of it.
We're no strangers to making odd-sized drums by hand, but this was a whole different level of drum. We purchased the finest materials in the United States, gathered some of the best craftsmen in Austin, Texas, and handmade the biggest and strongest bass drum in the world. Standing at 9.5 feet tall and 4.5 feet wide, she is the biggest bass drum in the world, made for the best university in the world, the University of Texas. As the original Bertha retires, we will continue to celebrate her in the UT Athletics Hall of Fame. So without further ado, please direct your eyes to the center of the field. On behalf of the University of Texas, A&F Drum Company, and Kentex Metals, this is Big Bertha 2.
100th anniversary of Big Bertha. She's been with us for almost 68 years, and she's a tradition of the Longhorn Band of the University of Texas at Austin. On behalf of the Lisa G. Hunnish family, the Ann and Brian Smith family, and Louise Richman and Dennis Griffith family, we are donating Big Bertha 2 to the Longhorn Band of the University of Texas.
The new drum will be called Big Bertha 2, and we wanted to do that to be consistent with the other trademarks of the university. Like Bevo has gone through 15 different steers, so we wanted to, keep that Roman numeral consistency of, now we'll keep the name, but this will be number 2.
With all due respect to my husband and his musical instruments, and to the tuba players and the flute players of the world, what do people want their picture taken in front of? It's Big Bertha, and you get to see parents, siblings, children, students, all lined up in front of Big Bertha. And so how can you not support something like that? We do the serious stuff. Yes, our estate's going to go for all the serious, studious endeavors, but this is, I would say, a gift of love and a gift of fun.
Bertha has come to be a symbol of what is good about the Longhorn Band, and I think she represents the band exceptionally well. She is revered and awed and respected wherever she goes. She's the icon of the Longhorn Band.